Hello, everyone. This time I'll say happy Monday, but not Sunday. I'll explain in a moment. This is Simon with AvaTrade, and we are doing our weekly webinar, mapping out week ahead. Basically, what we do here is trying to create a plan for the upcoming week. My name is Simon Friedman. I'm one of the senior account managers at AvaTrade. I've been involved with trading for over 23 years. I started in June of 2000 as a prop trader on Wall Street, and after doing 11 years of that intense trading, I moved into a different way of trading, also started to mentor and educate others. And currently, I'm very happy to be able and to have an opportunity to serve our customers. The agenda of the webinar, in 2 words, especially for new people. You know, as I always say, traders like to use this phrase: you plan your trade. Excuse me. You plan your trade, and then you trade your plan. And of course, there's no guarantee of success in anything, but definitely you have more chances to succeed in anything, not just trading, if you spend a little bit of time planning things and organizing your future actions, as opposed to just doing things on the go, and that involves a lot of emotions, and traders often without a plan they face a lot of challenges and chaos in their trading. So we go through indices, stocks, commodities, forex. We talk about fundamentals. We taking a look at technicals, at the charts. We'll go through economic calendar shortly. This is risk warning. You can find full statement at avatrade.com. And what we do here, excuse me. I apologize, my coughing is still persistent. These are the channels of AvaTrade. You have Telegram, you have Twitter, or former Twitter, now it's X. You have YouTube channels, my favorite. You can find a lot of useful information, and that includes tutorials, educational material, also webinars, very important. If you do miss webinar, don't stress. You can find it on YouTube, or you can set up a time that you're free and just browse through things that you'd like to learn. And the webinars are being recorded and posted. So if you are watching this on YouTube, please click on likes if you like it. Of course, don't fake it. Share it with your friends if you'd like, and definitely subscribe to our channels so you'll be notified when new things coming in. And that's it pretty much. So I mentioned something. I usually would do this on Sunday. I was traveling. I literally just got off the plane and came to my setup and went through things. I did follow the market. I was away for a week. I actually traveled in South Africa, just came back. And so I didn't want to miss it. So I'm doing it on Monday. Still a good time for us to have a little bit of a plan for the week. So here's the highlight. And I thought I would just take a screenshot. Again, this is marketwatch.com, and the title says Stock Rally, Rate Cut Forecast Face Test from Powell Testimony and Jobs Report. So, and it says right here, inflation has bottomed out, but it's still above the Fed's objective, and it seems like more labor market weakness is going to be needed, says portfolio manager John-Luke Tyner of Optus Capital Advisor. Okay, so this week we have excuse me. We have Powell's testimony in front of the Congress. That's on Thursday. And we have the NFP numbers, employment figures, coming on Friday. Usually it's the first Friday of the month, because I think the Friday fell on the 1st of March. So they just sometimes they move it to the following if it's a short period. So those are the key events. And just to elaborate a little bit, market's been, you remember, market's been running up on the idea that the Feds will start cutting in March. Then we had strong inflation data that kind of removed that chances of Fed's cutting the rates in March, and the market reacted to it. But now a lot of analysts are saying market is just being market and reacting to good news and good projections. As you know, Friday we just made a brand new record on all 3 U.S. indices. Nasdaq finally hit that record as well. So we had Nvidia has been running, making new highs. A lot of other things we'll take a look at the moment. So now it looks like the market's kind of not really worried about the interest cuts, and some analysts giving example of 1990s when the market just ran for a decade until it stopped when the dot-com happened in 2000. That's exactly when I came to trading. So again, a lot of opinions. Definitely worth listening to them. And as I always say, trader needs to collect the information and then transfer or filter it through his or her brain and intuition and experience, and then make the decisions. Because we know sometimes analysts are wrong, sometimes they're right, sometimes they have an agenda in their projections, hidden agendas, pushing some stocks or some instruments, hoping to increase the price, or they can sell into it, even though it's illegal. But I think they still do it somehow. Just it brings the memory, the 2000, after the dot-com era, the bubble burst, they invented something they call Chinese wall. That means that financial institution had separation from analysts and the traders, and that was implemented, I think, in the year 2000. But I don't know how strong that thing is. Stories through the years. Okay, so this is the highlights. So again, we have Thursday, Powell testifies in front of Congress, and we have the NFP numbers on Friday, which is probably the highlight of the week as far as numbers. So again, for new people, a few things to mention. This is economic calendar. It's public information. You can find economic calendar on our web trader or the app or any third-party provider. They receive it from the same source, and you can filter through it. You can choose what numbers, what geography you choose to watch, and so on, based on your trading. And what I do here, this is for the week, and I take only something in red, which is high impact events. There's so many, or much more than you see here, but these are the most important ones. So let's go through them really quick and try to see what's waiting for us for the upcoming weeks. So we have CPI numbers. This already came today, higher than expected on from Switzerland. We have later on tonight, we have CPI numbers from Japan. We have PMI from China. So you know, China, we've been talking about China for a while. It's been having challenges, and lately we had a little bit of recovery there. This is important as far as yen. Definitely will affect the yen, this speech, and also Nikkei, the Japanese index. We'll take a look at the moment at that as well. So as you know, out of major banks, Bank of Japan, we've been talking about it every week pretty much. Bank of Japan is the only major central bank that still keeps the interest rate negative, minus 0.1%. So we're getting closer to that move of Bank of Japan, and every meeting or every chance we have to hear from the governor, the traders are really watching and paying attention to, and see what are the indication and maybe possible time frames when that move would happen on increasing the interest rate. We spoke about it a few times. I think his last speech, he said it might happen around April after they're done negotiating salaries and other things with the labor, and so on. So that's Governor of Bank of Japan speaking. We have service PMIs from US, and that concludes the Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we have GDP numbers from Australia, retail sales from Europe, ADP employment from US. Usually it comes on Wednesday before the Friday report, so give us a little bit of an indication. Sometimes it's almost accurate, sometimes it's totally not in sync with NFPs, but still the analysts and traders are watching these numbers. So that's a Wednesday ADP employment change. Interest rate decision from Canada and the monetary statement following. And we have, I think it looks here, there's 2 days of testifying, this Wednesday and Thursday. So I need to correct myself. I mentioned only Thursday. So based on this, here we have Wednesday and Thursday, 2 days of testifying of Chair Powell. Thursday, we have trade balances from Australia, monetary policy statement, and interest rate decision from European Central Bank. That's the second one. So the first one is Canada, and then European Central Bank. They're predicting no change, as you could see here. And it followed 30 minutes later with the press conference. Okay, that's, as we said, testifying of Powell, the second day, and here comes the Friday. GDP numbers from European Union, employment data from Canada, and employment data from US with NFP. So as you see here, they're expecting, the previous was a very high number, as you remember, 353,000 jobs added, and now they're expecting 200,000. And let's see what the number will come out. It's funny, it reminds me like a lottery. You wait for that number to pop up, and the volatility on the market appears. And we have Saturday CPI numbers from China. Okay, so this is the economic calendar. Again, these are the high impact events. There's more. You can filter them, you can look through them, you can see what's relevant to your trading, right? Okay, so a few things. I just wanted to show you the 10-year yields. If you remember last week, we spoke about it, or the week before. As I mentioned to you, a lot of analysts talk about it, and the price of gold is very sensitive to that, also the price of dollar. So if you remember last time we spoke, we mentioned this channel between 432 and 420. So here on Friday we dipped below, and today we are bouncing again into the channel. So when we see gold, we probably see a move to the upside for these last 2 days of last week, and today we might see a little bit of a red in gold, as it's very sensitive to these 10-year yields. You can find this, you can Google it, find the provider of these quotes if you'd like to follow. Okay, so now we're going to move to the MT4, and we'll go through the markets. And let's start with Japan. As I mentioned to you, on the weakness of the yen, and Japan finally covered that 30 years of I don't know how to frame it, of the economy stagnation or recession, different names we can do. Recently, we popped up above that level, I think 1989. And a lot of it to do with the global economic recovery, as we see the global indices making new highs. That includes US and Germany. And also a weakness of Japanese yen is adding to this move as well, sure. So as we mentioned this week, we have the governor speaking, and we might see some moves and Nikkei. China. We had a nice move on China, as we mentioned a few times. The governor or the government of China, they're trying to inject some funds and purchasing equities and so on to revive the market. So we had a little bit of a move. You remember here, the 11,500 was a level that we had a hard time breaking. Then we finally did, and we almost hit the 200 moving average here. And we're sitting around current prices here, so that if we are moving higher, that 12,000 would be still a challenge. And as you could see here, the 200 moving average is moving lower over here. So if we are moving higher, we might test that. And again, if the market or Chinese market moves lower, we might be coming down and retesting that 11,500. So that's on China. Now, as we mentioned last week, was very strong for US indices. You take weekly chart. I think Dow Jones was the weakest out of three, but the other two had a strong week, again hitting all-time highs. This is the S&P current contract in futures for CFDs. We hit the high of 51.49 on Friday, and today we're trading about 10 points lower. And as I mentioned to you also here, Nasdaq had also established all-time high. And as we said, Dow Jones haven't done that. It's a little bit lagging there. German DAX, the same thing. We had a record high again established last week, the high of 17,846. And today we're a little bit in red on all the indices. Now, let's go through a few stocks of few companies that we spoke about last week. So this is Boeing. If you remember, I mentioned to you last week that they announced that a person who was in charge of that plant where the issue happened with the plane, he resigned, and Boeing is doing a lot of reshuffling of positions. So as you could see, we having a lot of struggles, and we are kind of glued to this 200 mark on Boeing after this sell-off caused by the technical issues. So let's see how we're doing around 200 here. Let's go through the big boys. Meta, all-time high, looks like it. Just going vertical. If you remember last time they had tremendous earnings. The advertisement is doing great, and the stock looks very healthy here. After the gap, we are continuing higher there. Microsoft is still to challenge that all-time highs that we established recently. If you remember, we spoke about when Microsoft became number one with $3.12 trillion market cap. So this week, even though Nasdaq made all-time high or new high, Microsoft is not confirming that high. So we'll be watching that. Tesla, as we mentioned, the $200 mark is being tested. We are currently, on Friday, we did close above 200 at 202. So watch that. Uber also, as we mentioned, was strong earnings. We are on the way possibly retest that high, which is also all-time high at 81.84. Google, not so strong at all. As you could see, as the market going higher, Google is making lower highs and lower lows. That doesn't look good. Let's see what's next. Apple, same thing. Also, if you remember, they announced that they're giving up on the idea of Apple Car, which potentially probably not. I mean, it's a tricky one. On one hand, there was something they could have boosted the stock, and I think potentially some analysts already were pricing that in, coming up at some point. On the other hand, the money and the effort put into the project and the shutdown could be going to other things, and we'll see. We had a little bit of a move here, right? If you remember, we had a little bounce when that virtual reality thing kicked in. It starts selling at 3,500, I think, that unit. But then we saw the pressure to the downside again in Apple, and as you could see here, this level here, 179.14, the low of this candle here. You know what? Let's draw the line there, so we'll be watching that. The low of 179.14. As you could see, we did go below it, but then we pushed higher, so we'll be watching that. Amazon doing great. We're still a little bit far from the all-time highs, but the stock's been going nicely to the upside. And if you remember, it was also added to Dow Jones index, Walgreens. So it looks like it also boosted a little bit of the company's reputation. Let's put it that way. Okay, so that's Amazon. Netflix, let's take a look at Netflix is flying. And interestingly enough, we're right at the level from which was sold. And that was December 2021. The high here was 619.89, and we closed about 50 cents below. So I would really watch this level here around current prices. So you could see here after hitting the high of 619.89, let's put it 620 roughly. The stock sold, and then it bottomed around May of 2022, and slowly it came back to this level. So definitely we'll be watching those levels there. Now I wanted to bring up GE stock. Very interesting. If you remember a while ago, they split their medical device company, and it became a separate company. So they just last week, the board of directors, they approved that on April 2nd, the company is going to split its business again, and it's going to be two companies. One is going to be GE Aerospace. That's the anything to do with the making engines and for the aviation, I guess. And it's going to be another company, GE Vernova, which is busy with power, wind, and electrical business. So just to give you an idea, the GE is one of the oldest companies, been in business for 150 years, and was co-founded by Thomas Edison. So it's a serious company. And I think that decision also pushing the stock higher here. Because if you are a GE owner, I just made a little bit of research. If you GE owner of current shares, that GE shares, and if you're holding it now or get in before March 19th, then on the 2nd at the opening, you actually, I don't know exactly how they're going to split it, but you actually be the owner, a partial owner of both companies' shares, right? So you don't need to do anything, I guess, as far as as far as the real shares. I don't know how it's going to work with us with the CFDs, because as you understand, CFDs are not real shares. But for the real shareholders, they're really pushing the stock higher by entering or purchasing the shares. So that's GE. Okay, let's take a quick look at banks before we move to next group of assets. So JP Morgan is a champion. It's been strong. and others are trying to catch up. Goldman, as you can see, a lot of actions here, a lot of chaotic action in a way. You see a lot of tails, kind of tricky. Citi and Bank of America. They all look strong, but JP Morgan is the highest. So let's see. Again, Wednesday and Thursday testimonies of Powell. And we might see also moves in banking stocks. Depends what he's going to be saying and how the market and the analysts will translate that into actions. Okay, we'll go to commodities. And we mentioned that with 10-year yields, we should be seeing them moving gold in the past 2 days of last week. And it's really right here, because you could see Thursday and Friday when they move. And today we're a little bit in red, exactly as we said. And somewhere here, that's what this kind of a recovery move that stopped around 2084.37. So we are sitting here kind of confirming that resistance. So if gold breaks above it and start building support, we might see continuation. And if we'll have a hard time breaking here, we might see the move to the downside. Of course, 10-year yields, something to watch. We have Powell speaking. We have NFPs. During the NFPs, gold is one of the assets that reacting with the dollar or US dollar on the other side, and of course the equity market. So we'll be watching that this week, definitely. Palladium, if you remember, we spoke about Palladium and the 950 level. We are, after being below, we are above that, and we have two full candles above the level. We are above the 50 moving average. So it looks like we are trying to establish again the support above this level. We'll be watching that. Crude oil, we had a move on crude oil on Friday. We hit a high of 80.83, and then we sold, and now we're kind of testing the 200 moving average here. So we're around 80. We're trying to get out of this multiple attempts, as you could see here, right? One tail, two tails, where the high here of 79.27, where the high here at 79.31, and we are trying to hold it. Let's see if we manage to hold that support. Natural gas, slowly, it's coming back to life. It's something you and I have been talking about it for a while. Again, I don't see any fundamentals. Technically speaking, it would be logical if we continue and retest this previous level of lots of actions around 2. Let's see what happens there. Cocoa, another round of pushing higher. Fundamentally, I don't think anything changed. There's still a huge excuse me, shortage of cocoa, and as you can see here, every correction, it's another entry and continuation to the upside. So as of now, at least we have some point of reference here, 66.43, somewhere here. We hit that level on 26th of February, about a week ago. So today we opened with a gap, as you could see here, and we are a little bit lower than the opening, but we are higher than Friday's closed. So we'll be watching cocoa. Copper has a little bit hard time going higher. It's just not sure what the China is doing. And as you know, I always bring these assets with the China index, copper, oil, Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar, as they are affected by what's going on in China. China is using a lot of oil, copper, and Australia and New Zealand dollar. They are called commodity currencies, as they export a lot, especially to China. So copper kind of stuck here with a few tails. Oil we spoke about, and let's take a look about Australian dollar. And as you could see here, we kind of glued to this level around 0.65. we're having a hard time breaking through 200 moving average here. A lot of actions here, as you could see, few tails had the resistance, then confirmed support, went higher, came back again. I got a lot of actions around 0.65, and we are still here. New Zealand dollar also in this area here, even though if you remember the previous week we spoke about the strength of New Zealand dollar. Now it's kind of between the averages above the 200 but below 150. Okay, that brings us to Forex. We'll start with dollar index, and it looks like that support that we briefly held 104 became a resistance clearly. As you could see, we've been having a lot of days and full candles and retests of that level. So 104 at this point is a resistance, but we are still holding above. As you could see here, we keep on hitting that 100 moving average and staying there. So again, it's kind of the same movie every time. We're waiting for something, right? And that's the reality of the market, fortunately, unfortunately. So, and I keep on repeating that we have Powell testimonies and NFPs. So most likely until Thursday, Friday, market will be moving in ranges and waiting for that clarity or indication of next move of Feds or whatever that is. And as you know, and Powell always says is that their decisions are all data dependent. So last round of data was the inflation. Now we have the labor data, labor numbers. Okay, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. So that's dollar index. We are clearly between, let's say, 103.5 and 104. Pound is breaking through 50 moving average here. Same story here. We've been in this channel for a very long time between 126 and 128. It continues. Euro had a hard time coming above 108. We're trading 108.52, also trying to push higher here. Japanese yen, the dollar yen is still remaining below this level, 150.87. We hit it after this recovery. We hit it on 13th of February, and we've been trying a few attempts to break above. So as of now, this 150.85 remains resistance. Again, we're getting closer to a potential move on Bank of Japan. As we mentioned this week, the governor of Bank of Japan speaks, so we'll see that. USD CAD moving higher as oil corrected itself. And also this week we have decisions from Bank of Canada on the interest rate. We already went through Australia and New Zealand. USD CHF holding here. As you could see, this tail hit exactly 200 moving average and bounce. So it looks kind of strong here. We'll be watching what's next here. And let's take a look at all the JPY pairs, see what's happening here. Okay, this is something that we've been talking for a very long time, CHF JPY. As you could see, this move happened on the 29th, a strong sell-off that kind of erased a couple of weeks of move to the upside. And now today's attempt to move higher was rejected right there at 170.50. This is the level here. And it could be continuation to this reaction here. As you could see, it's a big candle, and the actions or the bodies of the next candles are really at the bottom of this range. Besides this tail, let's see how long did it live. Okay, we did go above, and then the past few hours was selling. So that's CHF JPY. Aussie JPY is trying to recover here a little bit. So it's strong against the yen. Canadian is almost flat against the yen. Euro, it's strong against the yen. GBP strong against the yen. So yen is showing the weakness, or continues showing the weakness. And the only strength it shows as of now, it's US dollar and also Swiss franc, based on what we went through, right? So we'll be watching those two pairs. Okay, so that's the Forex, and let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. Everybody talks about it, of course. It's the champion of the day. We just hit 65,000 today, and things are moving. As we mentioned, that ETFs triggered that. Then we had a sell-off, normal reaction right here, and since then we've been moving steadily higher. Nice consolidation, continuation, very strong move, consolidation, continuation. So it looks like crypto is revived, and a lot of actions there. Okay, that would be it. I'm gonna wrap it up. Again, please subscribe to our channels. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click on likes if you do like it, of course. Also, please write comments. Your feedback is very, very important. And we should be back next Sunday, again, just to put it all together this week. The key events is Powell speaking in front of Congress and NFP numbers. We have a few interest rate decisions, of course, from ECB and Canada. It's going to be a busy week. I want to wish everyone a successful week, and we should be back next Sunday. All the best. Take care.